After Superman's demise, several individuals step forward as potential successors. The media displays a torn red flag on the ground as the news anchor somberly reports on Superman's death. A guest joins the discussion and expresses skepticism about the escalating situation. Suddenly, a couple is attacked by thugs but is rescued by superheroes. The invited guest remains doubtful about these heroes, arguing that humans should be their own champions. While his viewpoint holds some validity, it seems irrelevant to oppose those who save innocent people. The scene shifts to a warehouse where individuals are handling firearms, but their activities are interrupted by Superman, who disarms them and subdues the thugs. He takes the weapons and flies away, while the news recapitulates the unfolding events. The primary question that arises is the identity and purpose of these new heroes. At the news channel headquarters, the boss instructs the employees to capitalize on the topic and generate maximum attention. He glances over at the desk of one of the employees, noticing their absence. A young woman is packing her belongings at home. When she comes across a picture of herself and a man, she becomes emotional and tears up. The man in the picture is Clark, her partner, also known as Superman. Her parents try to console her, but she abruptly gets up and leaves. Acting on a sudden thought, she rushes out and meets with a woman whom she doesn't seem to have a fondness for. However, as they start talking, they begin to warm up to each other. The woman shows curiosity about the new Superman and asks the other woman about him, but unfortunately, she has no knowledge on the subject. Instead, they share their similar experiences involving Clark. Later that evening, an elegant formal party takes place with many important individuals in attendance, including the attractive Lois. The event's main focus is the introduction of the new Superman. Overwhelmed by seeing the new Superman, Lois can't handle it and leaves the room. She enters a nearby building and stumbles upon a secret door. Inside, she accidentally bumps into a man. To gather information from him, she pretends to flirt with the older man. As the man begins to ramble, the bald announcer of the new Superman, Lex Luthor, enters the room. Suddenly, loud sounds from outside indicate an attack. Lois and the man step outside only to witness the new Superman causing havoc. He defeats the imposter Superman, and just as he is about to inflict serious harm, a person wearing steel armor intervenes. A fight ensues between Steel and Superman, with Steel being thrown back. Superman once again approaches Lane and Luthor, but another hero interrupts, claiming that Lex Luthor is not a criminal according to the law. This new hero introduces himself as another Superman. They continue their fight outside, but it quickly ends when Superman arrives to retrieve Lex. After the fight, reporters gather to obtain exclusive interviews with the hero who saved the day. Lois Lane congratulates Superboy, but the boy cheekily flirts by asking about her age before walking away. Lane questions the man who accompanied her in the lab prior to the fight, and he confesses his belief that Luthor is smuggling weapons in Antarctica. Luthor is in a meeting where he reveals that Superboy is merely a clone. Meanwhile, the Superman who attacked the party is present, undergoing recharging in the city. Lois watches the news when someone flies up to her balcony. It is the alleged Superman who saved the city from the imposter. The savvy reporter points out that he cannot be Superman since Superman died. The man explains that the technology on his planet is highly advanced, allowing him to preserve what remained of himself. Lois skeptically suggests that he is merely a cyborg Superman, but he corrects her, asserting that he is indeed Superman. She crosses her arms and asks him about the last secret he shared with her. He reveals that he lost all his memories, and the only thing he recalls is being connected to her. He expresses concern about impending dangers and emphasizes the need for her influence to convince people that his intentions are purely altruistic. Meanwhile, Superboy's popularity continues to soar with each passing minute. Lex grabs hold of Superboy and reprimands him for showing off. Superboy inquires about his next task, and Lex smirks, revealing that he has a job for him. Meanwhile, Cyborg, Lantern, Batman, Flash, and Superwoman work together to protect a group of individuals as members of the Justice League. Suddenly, Superboy arrives, asserting that he is more than capable of handling the situation alone. The important people are guided into a building while the Justice League observes the new Superman with unease. An influential woman delivers an announcement, but their attention is quickly diverted as an attack ensues. Machines pour out of a portal and assault the civilians on the ground. The Justice League fights back to the best of their abilities, while Lois attempts to lead everyone to safety. However, she notices Superboy falling to the ground and rushes to his aid. The President, who is targeted by the machines, finds her vehicle in ruins, but she is rescued by the new Superman. This heroic act improves his reputation, as it is broadcasted on the news. Lex destroys his television in a fit of rage after his plan fails miserably. He reprimands Superboy for his perceived incompetence, but the young boy remains silent. Urging Superboy to accompany him, Lex leads him to an elevator that takes them down to a laboratory filled with experimental tubes. Dr. Donovan, who appears battered and bruised, approaches them. Lex produces a syringe labeled Termination and approaches Superboy, both acknowledging that he was created using Superman's DNA. However, before Lex can carry out his plan to terminate the clone, he has a change of heart and decides to leave the lab with Superboy, albeit firing Donovan in the process. In a fit of anger, Lex smashes all the test tubes, causing the abominations within to emerge and kill the doctor. After nightfall, Cyborg Superman stands at the grave of Terry Henshaw, receiving a message informing him of a crucial mission. The following day, Lois pays a visit to the cemetery, inquiring with the gatekeeper about Superman's solitary presence. The gatekeeper reveals that Superman seemed to be engaged in self-dialogue, an unusual behavior for him. Steel enters a building and sheds his armor before returning home, where Lois awaits him. She shares her lead on Cyborg Superman and playfully taunts him about concealing his identity as Steel. Together, they sit at a computer, researching the names of Terry and Hank Henshaw, two astronauts previously covered by Lois in an article. While Terry passed away, Hank's fate remains unknown. Lois theorizes that Hank might be the enigmatic Cyborg Superman, explaining his visits to his late wife's grave. Meanwhile, the president holds a ceremonial event with Cyborg Superman, exchanging a handshake. As Cyborg Superman prepares to deliver his speech, he glimpses his master observing him from a distance. Shaking off the trance, he proceeds with his address. From a distance, Lois and Steel observe, brainstorming strategies to expose the imposter. In another development, Cyborg Superman publicly appeals for volunteers among ordinary humans willing to serve the nation. A man named David steps forward, receiving a magical badge from Superman that bestows powers upon him. Declaring that anyone can become their own superhero, Superman's proclamation elicits cheers from the crowd. Steel and Lois ponder how Hank acquired such technology. Soon, the new superheroes, led by Knight, begin protecting the city, with David being the first volunteer. During an incident where Becky, David's girlfriend, has her purse stolen, he employs his newfound abilities to retrieve it. However, when she approaches to kiss him, he fails to recognize her and swiftly flies away. The malevolent nature of the new technology becomes evident. Steel descends swiftly to a laboratory in search of information, only to discover the scientists there battered and bruised. They reveal to him the identity of their assailant. Meanwhile, Lois pays a visit to Lex Luthor's residence, where she finds Superboy reciting and engages in a heartfelt conversation with him. Superboy confesses that Lex is his biological father. Suddenly, Lois receives a call from Steel, informing her of his whereabouts. It leads them both to the Antarctic, where the malicious Superman is held captive. Unexpectedly, the fake Superman turns against Steel and launches an attack. Inadvertently, Steel initiates a video call with Lois, who witnesses the fierce confrontation. Lex enters his house and seizes the phone, redirecting the call to his television. While Steel endures a brutal beating, Superboy, disregarding Lex's commands, takes flight to rescue him. Meanwhile, the general public convenes a meeting, engaging in heated discussions about the new superheroes. United, they decide to rally and voice their desire for change. In outer space, the Justice League finds themselves locked in a battle against extraterrestrial beings of various strange species. As the conflict between Steel and the imposter Superman nears its conclusion, an unexpected arrival disrupts the showdown. It is a black-haired man adorned with another Superman logo, revealed to be the true Clark Kent, the original Superman. Clark aids in healing Steel's wounds and discloses that the location they are in is a fortress of sorts. The imposter Superman cowers in the corner, fearful of the emergence of the true hero. Superboy addresses the genuine Superman as his father and inquires about their next course of action, bringing amusement to the man. The real Superman discusses the plan with them, and they prepare to rescue Hank. In the meantime, Lex announces his intention to send Lois into a perilous situation. The superheroes, who had been stationed in the Antarctic-like space, soar back to Earth to thwart the evil schemes. Amidst the protests of the civilians, who vociferously condemn the memory-deprived new heroes, Lois and Lex enter the vicinity. Lois requests to be taken to their boss, the primary antagonist of the story, while Hank divulges details about the success of the plan. Lois enters a building to rendezvous with Cyborg Superman, but her life is threatened as he attempts to strangle her. Their confrontation is interrupted by an alert, warning of an approaching Kryptonian. The true Superman strides in, triggering an argument between Hank and the villain regarding who gets to deliver the final blow to the hero. The villain sets in motion an apocalyptic scheme, unleashing numerous machines. Fueled by anger, cyborg Superman dismantles the main machinery controlling the apocalypse, causing it to fail. Free from mind control, he informs Lois that he has commanded the new heroes to destroy Metropolis. As he advances toward Lois, poised to harm her, Clark's spacecraft crashes into him. Lex faces imminent danger, but Superboy and Steel come to his rescue, though he fails to express gratitude and persists in his own pursuits. Clark approaches Lois, and they embrace. Lois once again implores him to reveal his secret, and this time he discloses it, his love for her. Cyborg Hank enters and attacks Clark, chaining Lois to a wall. Clark questions if this is what Terry would have wanted, but Hank silences him, citing Clark's failure to save his wife as the source of his resentment. The battle ensues, but Clark's weakened state impedes his ability to overcome cyborg Superman. Lois intervenes, highlighting that the conflict transcends Terry, it revolves around Hank succumbing to the dark side. Outside, the true heroes clash with their evil counterparts. Meanwhile, Lex devises a plan to bring the Justice League back from the space where they were trapped, and they swoop in to continue the fight. They soar into the scene, resuming their efforts to safeguard the Metropolis area. However, before the genuine heroes can rescue Lois and Clark, cyborg Superman commandeers the ship and ascends into the sky. Clark, filled with newfound power, electrocutes Hank and relentlessly pummels him. In a stroke of fortune, Lois manages to acquire a gun and successfully deactivates the spaceship. Now floating in the weightlessness of the sky, she shoots at Hank, urging him to stay away from Clark. Despite being shot twice, she spots a crucial button that needs to be activated. However, she becomes a target once again. When Superman awakens, his eyes radiate a crimson hue, indicative of his enhanced abilities. He unleashes a barrage of energy beams at Hank, extracting a magical crystal capable of halting the cyborg's rampage. This act finally brings an end to Hank's villainous transformation, as his robotic body ceases to function. Clark and Lois share a passionate kiss upon their return to Earth. The civilians observe the now humanized heroes, who, due to the bestowed badges, are believed to be deceased. 6 months later, the real Superman once again graces the news, as he and Lois enjoy a conversation at a pub. However, his respite is cut short when Superwoman urgently summons him for assistance. With impressive speed, he soars into space, his reputation and life restored, committed to his lifelong mission of protecting Earth from malevolence. The end. Thank you for watching. Check out these other videos and make sure to subscribe and tap the bell to be notified about our latest videos. See you next time.